pour Zoom. J'ai vraiment... Alors, attends, je vais passer sur le canal français, c'est mieux. Donc, j'ai le plaisir et vraiment la joie de vous présenter aujourd'hui Satish Kumar, qui a accepté notre invitation pour le colloque Éveiller le cœur, cultiver l'esprit, cœur, éducation, écologie. Je remercie tous ceux qui sont là dans la salle. Je remercie ceux qui sont venus de loin aujourd'hui, d'Espagne ou d'ailleurs, de France. Et je remercie aussi ceux qui nous soutiennent, les équipes techniques qui sont toujours avec nous, les hôtesses, les étudiantes bénévoles et tous ceux qui nous ont soutenus pour ce colloque. Et je vous présente donc Satish Kumar, qui est né en 1936 dans le Rajasthan, en Inde, est un activiste pour la paix, un écrivain, journaliste, rédacteur en chef du magazine Resurgence Ecologist et est militant pour un changement global depuis plus de 50 ans. À l'âge de 9 ans, il renonce au monde pour devenir un moine jainiste en Inde. Inspiré par Gandhi, il décide à 18 ans de revenir dans le monde et s'engager pour faire de la vision gandhienne de la paix une réalité. Quelques années plus tard, il entreprend un pèlerinage à pied, sans argent, de l'Inde à Moscou, à Londres, à Paris, à Washington, pour militer contre la prolifération des armes nucléaires. Donc, c'est un pèlerinage qu'on devrait nous aussi entreprendre, je crois. Et alerter les chefs d'État et populations sur les risques de conflits nucléaires. Cet engagement se poursuit pendant plus de 50 ans au service de la régénération écologique, de la justice sociale, de l'épanouissement de la vie spirituelle. Et Satish Kumar dirige pendant 43 ans le magazine Resurgence, qui va fusionner avec Ecologist, qui est donc un journal pionnier du mouvement écologiste en Europe. Il s'engage, inspire de nombreuses organisations de justice sociale et environnementale, ainsi que des initiatives dans le domaine de l'éducation à l'environnement. Il est donc cofondateur du Schumacher College dans le Devon, en Grande-Bretagne, où il continue à enseigner aujourd'hui. Cette institution, qui est en partenariat avec l'Université de Plymouth, constitue un des lieux d'expérimentation pédagogique unique en Europe, proposant des formations en immersion de courte et longue durée, qui relèvent donc d'une éducation holistique et d'une écologie intégrale. Sa vision et son engagement ont mené plusieurs universités britanniques à lui décerner le titre de docteur honoris causa. Conférencier reconnu, il a même collaboré à plusieurs reprises avec la BBC. Il est également l'auteur de plusieurs ouvrages, dont son autobiographie, No Destination, et en français, Tu es donc je suis, pour une écologie spirituelle, et le dernier ouvrage paru en France, Comment j'ai appris la simplicité, paru en 2021 chez Robert Laffont. Et donc, Satish Kumar, en plus, on le remercie pour son engagement et sa disponibilité. Il aurait voulu venir en personne, mais les conditions sanitaires ont fait qu'il est resté donc à distance et on le remercie énormément pour sa participation. Je vous donne la parole.
Thank you for your wonderful introduction. Thank you for your welcome. It is my pleasure to participate in this colloquium on education and ecology. I will speak for about half an hour, and then we will have enough time for questions, another half an hour. But before I begin, I would like to start a short meditation, about 2 minutes. So, bring your both palms together, like this, and then I bring my both palms together and I bow to sacred life, sacred earth, sacred universe. I see all beings in me and myself in all beings. I see whole universe in me and myself in the whole universe. I am microcosm of macrocosm. All living beings are sustained by the same breath of life. Thus, we are all connected. We are all related. We are interbeings. Unity and diversity dance together. When separation and divisions end, suffering ceases. I bow to the unity of life. I bow to the diversity of forms. I bow to the sacred, to life, to the earth, to the universe. I breathe in, I breathe out. I smile, I relax, I let go. I let go of all expectations, attachments, and anxieties. I let go of all worries, fears, and anger. I let go of ego. Breathe in, breathe out, smile, relax, let go. Breathe in, breathe out, smile, relax, let go. I am at home. We are at home. We are at home. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
The education system we have today in the world was designed for the 19th and 20th century. In the 21st century, that educational system has become out of date. So we need a new educational system. This is why we started Schumacher College, to create a model of what kind of new educational system would look like. The educational system we have today separates humans from nature. This is a dualistic educational system. We say nature is out there, the mountains, the forests, the rivers, the animals, the birds are all nature. And we humans are not nature, we are separate from nature. So this is the first division, first separation we create. Then we say in our universities, in our schools, in our colleges, we educate people that you are not only separate from nature, but you are superior to nature. All other life forms, animals, forests, land, everything is there for your benefit. So nature is separate from you. You are better, superior, higher than nature. And therefore, we are educated to go out and steal the secrets of nature, conquer nature, exploit nature, subjugate nature for the economy. That is the educational system we have today. conquer nature, exploit nature, subjugate nature for the economy. So nature has become a resource for production, consumption, profit making, money making, what is called the economy. Not only nature has become a resource for the economy, but even humans in the industrial system have become a resource for the economy. In England, we call it HR department. In every business, every school, every university, every industry, every government ministry, all of them have what is called HR department. HR stands for, I don't know what is in France or Spain, but in England, HR stands for human resources. So not only nature is a resource for the economy, humans are also resource for the economy. So the nature has become a means to an end, the end of economic growth. Humans have also become a means to an end, the end of economic growth. That is the present form of education. At Schumacher College, we say the other way, the opposite way. We say nature is not a resource for the economy. Nature is a source of life itself. And humans are not a resource for the economy. The dignity of human life stands above economic growth, production, consumption, etc. So the integrity of nature and dignity of human life is supreme, or are supreme. And the economy, production, consumption, profit, business, industry, all these activities are the means for human welfare, human well-being, and a well-being of the whole planet Earth. So now, this is a big change of our consciousness. Our educational system has to transform to say that humans and nature are not a resource for making money, but dignity of human life and the integrity of the natural world are the supreme goal, the end. And production, consumption, money, profit, industry, business, everything else are the means to the end of human welfare, human well-being, and planetary integrity, the sustainability of the planet Earth. This is the one fundamental change of attitude, change of worldview that we need in our education. But unfortunately, even now, even in the 21st century, when we know what our activities have done to nature, we have created so much pollution, so much waste. Our oceans are full of plastic. Our soil is full of poisonous chemicals and fertilizers and herbicide and pesticide. And our atmosphere is full of greenhouse gases, which is causing climate change and global warming. And yet we think that more technology, more business, more industry, more economic growth will solve the problems. We think that technology will solve the problems. So at Schumacher College, we are saying that no, we need a new worldview, a new thinking, a new attitude to life, new attitude to nature. And that new attitude is new education. And our young people need to be trained in new way of life. So that when you go out of the universities, out of schools and colleges and universities, when you begin your job, you do one thing. Before you begin your work, before you start your business, you do one thing. You take what is called Hippocratic oath. Hippocratic oath is first do no harm. When doctors pass their exam, when they receive their degree, medical degree, and then when they are beginning to do their practice, medical practice, they take this Hippocratic oath. They say, first, I will do no harm. Then you are free to do whatever you want to do, but you will do no harm. This Hippocratic oath should be not only for the doctors. It should also be for business people, for economists, for scientists, for industrialists, for politicians, for everybody. That is the new attitude, that we will do no harm. We will not exploit nature. We will not exploit human beings. The dignity of human life and the integrity of natural world will reign supreme, will rule our idea and our thinking and our activities. Do no harm. Do no harm to yourself. At the moment, when you are working in the industry and the business and the big corporations, many people are unhappy. Many people are frustrated. They don't enjoy their work. They are doing harm to themselves. They are just a cog in the machine, in a bureaucracy, just as a kind of tools, kind of instruments of running the corporations, running the business, running the industry, running the economy, running the organization. So they are doing harm to themselves. And then their industry, their business, their economy, their activities, they harm other people. You can see how our big industries and corporations are harming other people. Cheap labor, our fashion, our clothes are made in Bangladesh, in Vietnam, in poor countries. And labor is paid very little, small amount of money. And those people are poor, they don't have any other way of living, so they are exploited. And so doing harm to people, our economy and our work is doing harm to people around the world. And then, of course, our industrial economy is doing harm to nature. Polluting our oceans with plastic is harming the ocean. So violence to nature. We are cutting down the rainforest in Brazil, in Colombia, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in all the countries. Our forests and rainforests are being destroyed day after day, week after week, month after month, as if there's no tomorrow. That is harming, violence to nature. We are poisoning the soil. More chemicals, more fertilizer. We think the soil has no life. Soil has no life. This is our industrial thinking. Only way to produce food is to put chemicals. That is harming soil, harming land. So our educational system is part of the problem. Not only is it out of date, but it's a part of the problem. Our highly educated people are running the big corporations, big industry. big government, big military, weapons, nuclear weapons, other bombs, fighters. All those are created by humans, which are so harmful. And science and industry, science and business, and science and military have come together. They joined hands in hands. Of course, science rejected religion. And there was some good reason for that. Because religion became very dogmatic, very narrow-minded, very sectarian, and created a lot of conflicts and wars. And therefore, religion also became denuded, disconnected from spiritual values and became dogmatic. So it was a good that science challenged that dogmatic, sectarian, narrow-minded, divisive religious dogmas and traditions. But they joined hands together with military and with business and with industry, which is creating so much harm to environment and to people. So I think science in our universities has to be taught differently. Our scientists have to be prepared with ethical and spiritual and ecological values. If science is denuded of ecological and spiritual and holistic values, then science becomes dangerous. Like religion without science, religion with dogmas and sectarianism and narrow thinking has become dangerous and created a lot of wars and conflicts. In the same way, science without spirituality, science without ethics, science without ecology, science without human values also becomes dangerous.
Your voice, vos voix se croisent dans la traduction, attention.
And so we need a new educational system. And that educational system has to be rooted in doing no harm and rooted in the principle of cyclical economy, so that everything what is coming from nature goes back into nature. So I would like to sum up with this presentation that Schumacher College is where we are teaching that nature is not a resource for the economy, but life, nature is a life itself. And humans are not a resource for the economy. Human dignity is the supreme, and economic growth and economic activities should be in the service of humanity and the planet Earth. That is the big challenge and a big difference and a big improvement that we have made. And I hope that as this 21st century evolves, and as we become more aware of the climate change and global warming and the destruction of our rainforest and our impact on the planet Earth, we become more aware of it, like COP26 in Glasgow made some good news about awareness, although they did not take sufficiently serious steps in the right direction, but at least there was a talk about it. I hope that education can rise to the challenge of our time, and education can transform itself so that the next generation of young people emerge out of universities and schools and colleges so that they can live in harmony with nature and work in harmony with nature. That is my vision for a new ecological education. Thank you very much for giving me this chance to speak about my vision of education. And now I would like to hear some questions so that we can have more dialogue and more discussion rather than monologue of me speaking. Thank you very much.
Voilà. Merci beaucoup, Satish Kumar, pour cette conférence. Et maintenant, on peut ouvrir la session des questions-réponses.
Yes, I'm ready. Who is going to ask first question?
Do you hear me, Satish?
Sorry?
Hi, do you hear me? Satish, do you hear me? No.
Oui, c'est ça. Il faut, parce qu'il il est là. Il est là aussi.
Maybe everybody agrees with me and they have no more
Satish,
questions.
No, we just have a sound problem. Do you hear me right now? Do you hear me, Satish?
I can hear you. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
I can hear. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your sharing. I think most of us here, maybe all of us, are really agreed with what you said, and we are already convinced by this that we need to change our education system and life system and find another art of living together. And so maybe my question is, what are your advice? How do you, what the main stream to change really and deeply, being aware that most of the teacher and also the people who are working in the health system are already very tired and kind of overwhelmed. So how we can sustain that all together?
Thank you. Very good question. The question is how we change. I think in a nutshell, that is the question. How we change. We start small. Change always begins small. Like a great river always begins small spring in the hills or the mountains. In the same way, in Montpellier, where you are, you can start small. How do you start? You start by accepting nature as your teacher. Nature is our teacher. So begin with that one principle, that we are going to learn from nature. So how do you learn from nature? First, I have to be in nature. So take your students out in nature. Every week at Schumacher College, we take our students every week out in nature, in the mountains, in the hills, by the sea, in the river, in the valleys, somewhere. When you are in nature, you start to celebrate nature and you start to learn about nature. That is one thing. How do you change? By being out in nature. Make your curriculum, your syllabus accordingly. Make your timetable accordingly. And put in your timetable how much time we are spending in front of a computer, in front of a screen, in the room, inside the building, and how much time you are spending outside in nature. That is one change you can start to make. Secondly, has your university got a garden? Has your university got any land? Any space? Begin to put your students out in nature on the land and create a garden. In our Schumacher College, we have 7 acres of garden. And all our students, every day, they take rota, and every day some students will go out in the garden for 1 hour and plant the seeds, water the plants, look after the plants, harvest the fruit and the vegetables and the herbs. So ask all your students to do something in the garden, out in nature, touch the soil. When you are in touch with the soil, you will appreciate the value of the soil. So every school, every college, every university should be associated with a land, with a piece of land, with a garden, with a farm. Everybody who eat must also participate in growing the food. Even a small amount. Doesn't have to be 100%. You don't have to be a full-time farmer. But at least you should know touching the soil, working on the soil. That's the second thing. Go out in nature, learn from nature. Nature is your teacher. And secondly, grow some food in the soil and be in the garden. Number 3, where is your food cooked? How is the food cooked? Who is cooking your food? If you want to be simple, ecological, and a kind of sustainable life, all students and teachers should cook together. Make your university 1 or 2 or 3 kitchens where 50 or 40 or 30 people can work together. I cook at Schumacher College. Our teachers, our students cook together. When you cook together, you create a community. So your university and your college should not only be an institution, big institution to give degrees and academic education. It should be a living community. Transform your college into a community. Transform your university into a community. And make your college and university, it's too big. I don't know how many people are there in Montpellier, but make within your college smaller units so that each unit is self-contained. So this way, you start in your college. You have to be an example for the world. You cannot start from Sorbonne, or you cannot start from Harvard or Yale. You have to start where you are. Your journey begins from where you are, the step by step by step. Every day you move towards it. Then you look at your university and say, is there any waste? Your Montpellier University should be waste-free. Everything should be recycled. Are you making compost? Make compost. And everything what you take from nature after use, put back in the compost. No plastic. Nothing which cannot be recycled. Nothing should be in your university which cannot be reused. Everything must go back to nature. This is a circular economy. Circular, like a cycle, not a linear economy where you take, make, use, throw away. That is the old educational system. Throw away society, waste-making society. Now, your change starts by saying, in our university, will be plastic-free, waste-free. We'll make everything compost. So have a compost, have a garden, cook your food, and go out in nature. And with it, you can learn your academic philosophy, you can learn your academic theology, you can academic science, you can learn academic kind of anthropology, you can psychology, any other subjects are fine, no problem. But those intellectual education should not be only way to learn. We have to learn through our education of head, education of hearts, education of hands. Head, heart, and hands. If you can bring that in your education, that is how you start changing. And when you become one university, an example like that, then other universities will learn from you. They will copy you. They will emulate you. So you need to be the radiator to radiate the change. You have to be the change that you want to see in the world. That is how you start. All right, I'll wait.
Je suis ennuyée. Donc, en ce domaine, nous avons beaucoup à apprendre de la nature. Quand nous plantons une graine, la terre, l'eau et le soleil unissent leurs forces pour faire naître la plante ou l'arbre qu'elle contient en germe. Au printemps, cet arbre, cette plante fleurissent. En été, leurs fleurs se muent en fruits. Vient l'automne, les feuilles tombent et enrichissent le sol. Pendant l'hiver, l'arbre ou la plante repose, puis s'éveille de nouveau au printemps. Cet arbre, cette plante ne cherchent pas à être plus ou moins ce qu'ils sont. Ils ne vont pas se mortifier ni jeûner pour économiser l'eau et les nutriments que leur offre la terre. Ils vont puiser la juste quantité, c'est-à-dire la quantité dont ils ont besoin pour s'épanouir. Donc, et dans cet extrait du livre, Comment j'ai appris la simplicité, Satish Kumar nous montre vraiment la sagesse de la nature dont il nous a parlé tout à l'heure. Nous avons aussi une question d'une personne qui est en ligne, et Hélène, qui nous dit comment concrètement cet enseignement de l'écologie est intégré dans les enseignements, dans les cours, à Schumacher College. Le son est bas. Oui. Comment concrètement cet enseignement de l'écologie est intégré dans les enseignements au Schumacher College?
Yes. As I said, that if you are in Spain, or you are in south of France and Italy and Greece, those are very warm countries, particularly in the spring and the summer and the autumn. You have a good weather. So during those months, I would say hold your classes outdoor rather than indoor. Sit under a tree. We had a great Indian poet called Rabindranath Tagore. He was a Nobel Prize winning poet, the first Asian, first Indian to receive Nobel Prize for poetry. He started a university, a school and a university, both. And he will sit under the trees. Because in India, it's good weather, like you have in south of France and Spain and Italy. So he will say to his students that you have two teachers. I'm your human teacher. But this tree under which we are sitting is also your teacher. So if you can hold your classes under the trees, that's a good step in the right direction. So making nature your teacher. Look at nature, education of heart, education of compassion. In nature, economy of nature is always zero waste, zero pollution. Economy of nature should be the model for human economy. Is there any waste? I mean, you have trees growing in the spring, and the fruit, the leaves, the flowers, everything there, and they ripen in the summer. You harvest in the autumn, and what is not harvested, fall comes, the leaves fall, the fruit fall, and they go back into the soil. So the water comes from the ocean into the sky, the steam and the gas, and form the clouds. And that water becomes the rain, purified, sweet water, goes back into the soil and becomes the river, and it goes back to the ocean. This is the cyclical, circular economy of nature. If we can make economy of nature as our model, and my friend called Janine Benius, she has written a book, very nice book, called Biomimicry. If you can make nature as your teacher and mimic nature, then nature can teach us. So like in an economy of nature, everything moves in cycles, in a circular way. The human economy should move in circular way. Cyclical economy, circular economy. Holistic economy is always circular. So if you can make that as a part of your study in your university, and every day, and then I said already, every day you are not only educating your head, but also education of heart and education of hands. Because at the moment, when students go to university, the teacher look at the student and they think the student has no body. They have no body. They have only brain. They have no hands.
rappelle plus. Ah, il s'est déconnecté. Et bon, en attendant que Satish Kumar puisse se reconnecter, parce qu'apparemment, vous allez regarder dans participants, affichage, non, il n'est plus en ligne. Bon, c'est des incidents techniques qui arrivent, mais je pense... Ah, il est revenu, très bien. Ça nous permet d'être en pleine conscience, de faire une pause, et respirer. Voilà. Le micro.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Oui, oui, très bien.
There's something has gone wrong with technology.
Yes, c'est un peu aléatoire, disons. Oui.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, very well.
Okay.
Oui, je voulais rebondir à ce qu'a dit Satish Kumar sur le cycle de la nature dans le chapitre 20 du livre Comment j'ai appris la simplicité. Satish écrit: la naissance et la mort composent le cycle de la vie. La mort apporte le renouveau. Pourquoi la craindre? Cessez de penser qu'elle est mauvaise, difficile. Elle est libératrice et transformatrice. Elle n'est pas la fin de...
How can I put something for translation? I can't hear
okay. So is interpretation.
I can't hear the translation.
Yes. So Satish, at the bottom of the screen there is interpretation, and you can choose.
My interpretation has gone. What do I put on my iPad? Is there something I can do to get the translation?
In the interpretation at the bottom of the screen, you have,
I don't see anything in my iPad. I'm very new to this technology. It says participants, more chat, meeting, minimize meeting, language interpretation.
Okay.
English. Yes, now I can get it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, so I was reading, j'étais en train de lire un extrait de ton ouvrage, Comment j'ai appris la simplicité, et un passage en particulier qui parle de la naissance et de la mort.
Okay.
La naissance et la mort composent le cycle de la vie, la mort apporte le renouveau. Pourquoi la craindre? C'est de penser qu'elle est mauvaise, douloureuse ou difficile. Elle est libératrice et transformatrice. Elle n'est pas la fin de la vie, mais le début d'une autre vie. Elle nous ouvre une porte, car l'esprit est éternel et la vie aussi. Tout comme nous fêtons le retour du printemps et la renaissance de la nature, nous devrions fêter l'arrivée de l'hiver et le passage d'une vie à une autre. Et donc, je voulais citer cette page, parce que souvent, quand on parle des humanités environnementales ou de l'éco-critique, de ces disciplines liées aux sciences humaines et à l'écologie, on n'intègre pas une vision justement d'écologie intégrale, d'écologie profonde. Et je pense que cette vision, je demande à Satish, cette vision du cycle de la vie et de la mort fait partie d'une écologie profonde.
That's right. So deep ecology is to accept the intrinsic value of nature. Deep ecology means that the value of nature is not dependent on the usefulness of nature to humans. Nature has its own intrinsic value. And that as like humans have their own intrinsic value. And humans and nature are one. And therefore, why do we say nature is only useful to humans, and therefore value of nature is only related to the usefulness to humans? That needs to change. And that's a deep ecology. And then to have a deep ecology, you have a deep experience of ecology. And this is why I said, go out in nature, be in nature, be part of nature, be our nature. That realization is deep ecology, deep experience. And then you make a deep commitment that I'm going to do everything without harming nature. No harm. That's the Hippocratic oath I talked about. So that's a kind of deep commitment. So deep ecology leads to deep experience and deep commitment. And then we live like the economy of nature. We have a human economy modeled on nature. That's a kind of fundamental principle of deep ecology. And that leads to understanding of Gaia, because we see the planet Earth not a dead rock, as the old scientists believed. The planet is a dead rock. No, the new science promoted by James Lovelock and Lynn Margulis in America, she passed away. James Lovelock is 102 years old, still alive. And they developed this philosophy of science that the planet Earth is not a dead rock, but it is a living organism. And that living planet, living Earth, living universe, this is why my prayer in the beginning was about the unity of life. We are all interdependent. So Earth is a living organism, Gaia, Goddess Gaia, Earth Gaia, Mother Nature. That understanding should be an integral part of our education. Every school, university, and college should teach our young people that you are part of nature, you are part of this living organism called Gaia, and you have a deep understanding and commitment to nature, and that is Gaia and deep ecology. And that we teach at Schumacher College.
Merci beaucoup, Satish. Est-ce qu'il y a une question dans la salle pour vous avancer, s'il vous plaît?
Hi, thanks so much for this very interesting presentation. It was really insightful. You briefly mentioned spirituality.
I cannot hear you. Can you speak louder and clearer?
Is it any better now?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I was thanking for your presentation. It was really very insightful. You mentioned spirituality in your talk. I was wondering if you could speak to that. What's the role of spirituality in sustainability transformation? And maybe a second question linked to that. What's your view about the way in which current science deals with that role? And by that, I mean mainly using the program MBSR, Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction, and then measuring in a quantitative way the result and the results of that intervention.
Yes, your sound is very not clear, so I didn't quite get the question. You talked about spirituality, but I didn't understand what is your question in that. Can you speak a bit louder and a bit more succinctly? What is your question? I didn't. Your sound is very faint.
Okay, I'll try again. Yeah, I'll try again. So there are two questions.
Non, il est éteint. Mais non, c'est celui-là. Mais il est éteint.
Ici?
Maybe the interpreter can interpret what was the question. Interpreter, I can hear better.
No? Is it better now?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, I can hear you very clearly, but the person who's asking question, the sound is not clear. Problems of technology.
Oui, tu peux l'écrire dans le chat. Non, je sais pas.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear a little bit, yes. Speak a bit louder and yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so just two questions. The first one is about the role of spirituality in this transformation you are talking about.
Yes.
Yeah? And the second one is about the way in which science currently deals with that, meaning that they basically use an 8-week program, MBSR, and then they measure the results of that program in a quantitative way.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this the way in which science captures spirituality in that way?
Yes, yes, yeah. So spirituality, we should differentiate between spirituality and religion. Religions are like Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, Judaism. All these religions are started after the teachers like Jesus Christ, the Buddha, Muhammad, Lao Tzu, all these great teachers gave teachings of spirituality, love, compassion, kindness, and so on. But then the followers created a religion and put a label on it and create a dogma and create a kind of sectarianism. So we have to separate spirituality from a dogmatic and from a kind of sectarian, narrowly defined religious tradition. So the place of spirituality should be together with science. Science and spirituality should go together. Without spirituality, science can become dangerous. And science can become a kind of companion with exploitation, military, business, industry, etc. So science should be made together with spirituality. And spirituality should be made together with science. When science and spirituality work together, that is better. So religion without science can become dangerous and dogmatic, and science without spirituality can also become dangerous and create nuclear weapons and create bombs and create artificial intelligence and create genetic engineering and many things which are very harmful to humanity and to nature. So spirituality means connection. When you say spirit means breathing. That's a spirit. Inspirare, expirare. When you inspirare means to breathe in, expirare to breathe out. So spirit means breathing. What is breath? Breath is shared. We are all connected through our breath. So connection is spirituality. So when you say love, what is love? Love is spirituality because it connects. It connects you with your beloved, with your parents, with your children, with your country, with your forest, with your nature. Everything, your love connects. Love is like gravity, like you gravitate towards something which is attracting you. So love is gravity in a spiritual way. So compassion is also relationship. You have to be compassionate to somebody who is suffering, who is in difficulty. You are compassionate. So spirituality is about relationship. And religions become dogmatic and can become theological and so on, and become sort of various theories, this belief or that belief. But spirituality goes beyond belief system. Spirituality is relating with compassion, kindness, generosity, and love. That is spirituality. And that should be common to all living beings, whoever we are, whether you are European, African, American, Chinese, Indian, whatever you are, whatever Hindu, Muslim, Christian, whatever you are, without any separation, without any division, you practice spirituality because that is a way of relating to each other and relating to other people and relating to the natural world. That is spirituality. Now, science is without spirituality, science has become dangerous. And so measurement, of course, you need measurement, but there are things you cannot measure. That's where the science of quality comes in. You have a science of quantity at the moment, and science of quantity is dominating our educational system. So we need to have an equal measure, equal weight, equal place for science of qualities. The science of qualities cannot be so much measured. In the same way, you cannot measure how much love you can give to everybody, how much friendship you can give to everybody. You cannot measure how much air we breathe. You cannot measure how much sunshine we need and we get. You cannot measure all these things which are kind of spiritual. And so science needs to embrace the science of quality, where you accept things which cannot be measured. Because measurement and the meaning, these are the two sides of the same coin. You have a measurement, how big it is, how heavy it is, how long it is, how short it is, mathematical measurement. But then, what is the meaning of it? When you put the meaning with the measure, then you bring science with spirituality and spirituality with science. So I would say, always remember measurement, but what is the meaning of this measurement? What is the purpose of this measurement? Where does this measurement will lead you to? Measurement can lead you to wrong direction. So measurement enough, not enough by itself. Measurement is not enough by itself. Measurement has to be married with meaning. And the meaning is the quality. So the quantity and quality should go together. Our body is quantity, but the soul is quality. Imagination is quality. The intelligence is quality. That's the meaning. So our body is not enough without spirit, without soul, without mind, without intelligence, without consciousness. So the consciousness and the intelligence and the spirit, that brings the meaning. So measurement and meaning bringing together makes the quality and quantity coming together. Those are the pairs that we have to always remember. We should not have just one-sided view, only measurement, or only matter, or only quantity. We have to have a measurement with meaning, quantity with quality, and matter with spirit. When you combine these two together, then it becomes holistic. Otherwise, you are only partial. So education should be holistic, seeing both sides of science. So that is my answer. I think we have to finish now, because it's at 35 minutes past 9 now in England. But it has been my great pleasure to be part of your organization and your colloquium and your university, your educational system. And it has been my pleasure. And thank you for inviting me and giving me this chance to speak to you. And hopefully next year, maybe I'll come to your place in person, and wish you good luck in transforming your place into a more ecological and more holistic and more spiritual place of education. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup. Satish Kumar, I would like to say thank you. Je voudrais te remercier de cette très très belle intervention. Et je voudrais conclure avec une phrase d'un grand sage indien qui a dit un jour, quelqu'un lui a posé la question, quel est le bonheur pour vous? Et il a répondu, être en présence des sages. So, donc, vous avez vraiment...
And wise women. Wise men and wise women.
Yes. Bon, merci beaucoup et j'espère peut-être bientôt à Montpellier, peut-être un jour.
Okay, thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.